welcome to welcome to the Gump Report. You never know how stupid I'm gonna act, or very solemn, or very nice. Well, I just doing good with them, and you can see my eye. I hope you enjoy yourself with I did do a video of NWA with Shadows Fall. I hope you enjoy it. So this is actually a video that I was considering doing, but I hadn't seen the A&E biography yet. But this is about Mick Foley. Very interesting. Now, there were certain things I already knew, like most other people knew about how Mick Foley got into the business, how things happened, but they really added on top of what Mick Foley had gone through, showing about how he got started. I'd heard stories about how he got started with his family, how his father was, but I didn't know completely about his father being part of the school district and him going to college and his friends not really believing in him, but his family believing in him, but telling him he can't just quit college. He has to go to college and finish up. Going to college in around the time when I was about, he started wrestling in 1987 and 88. And I was 16 years old. And being dyslexic, I was slow going into high school. So when I graduated when I was 19. And he's way older than me. He's 56. He's 6 years older than me. So where I was in 1988, I was 17. He was already 24 years old. He'd already gone through high school. He'd already gone through college. Going through college. He's going to learn how to wrestle. And in the middle of that, he met the most gorgeous piece of, I take that back. He first met a beautiful woman that didn't even realize his name, and then he wrote a book. Sort of. Then, when he went into full wrestling, and trying to make some money, he met the most gorgeous woman you could ever see, fell in love with her, and then had a life with her. A damn model. Woman was a damn model. She still looks great for her age. She's probably in her early 50s. Looks damn good. And he falls in love with her, has kids, he wrestles, and he's not like any ordinary wrestler. He doesn't go drinking, he doesn't go smoking. Well, I don't know if he smokes. He doesn't go drinking, he doesn't go out there drugging, he doesn't go to clubs. He just wants to be a family man. He wants to be a good husband and a good father, which makes things very interesting. I know the stories about him being a father were very important to him, but to actually see his daughter, to see his son, and then to see his other son really helped to understand how much of Mick Foley I didn't really know. Seeing him lose his ear, I'd heard how he lost his ear, but I never saw him lose his ear. And that was the interesting thing, where he lost his damn ear. They showed it. They showed him at Japan, and he wanted to do the flip over, holding his head inside the top rope and the bottom rope, which is made out of steel wrapped in, plastic or just tape. And he got fully trapped in it, pulled himself out, and he lost his damn ear that way. I heard it. Like many people heard it, that he lost his ear because of a stunt he was doing in the ring. But I never actually saw it happen on an old VHS recording. And I did finally see it. And I'm going, damn, so that's what happened. And the promo that was done was actually pretty good. That was pretty good. He was the type that always took opportunity when it was in front of him. When he went to WCW, when he was in AWA, when he was in ECW, when he went to WWF, he took opportunities when it was in front of him. And Vince did not like him. Vince didn't understand the gimmick, and he tried to change things around. Now, Mankind worked. I knew when it was Mankind. I wasn't too fond at first with the Dude Love because, I'm going to be honest here, like I've said, between 92 to 2003 or 2002, around 10 to 11 years, I wasn't watching wrestling constantly. I didn't have the time to watch wrestling constantly. I was always working a lot or trying to make my marriage work, which didn't. And next to that, my wife didn't really like wrestling. Well, at least she never said she liked it. Even though I did watch it a couple of times when I could, every couple of weeks throughout those 10 or 11 years. I tried to see wrestling maybe once or twice every 2 or 3 weeks. It was very hard for me to do it when I was working, taking care of my son, being with my wife, helping her family. I didn't really have a lot of time. So it was hard for me. So around that time, seeing Mick Foley in Mankind, I did see a couple of times. And I thought it was unique. Seeing Dude Love, I wasn't too fond of Dude. I was like it or love it. That's how I was. Only later in years did I appreciate it more when I was watching wrestling more often. So seeing that was good. Eventually seeing when he finally went to Cactus Jack. And when he did that epic match with Randy Orton, who was still new at the time, going and doing a hardcore match with thumbtacks is when Cactus Jack was over for me. I love Cactus Jack. I can never say cactus properly. That's when Jack to me meant something. Now, of course, when he left to TNA, after a while, when he finally retired from WWE, was there, then he went back into wrestling, I didn't see him. Because at that time, around 2007 to 8, I really wasn't, well, honestly, I didn't have no cable. I hadn't had cable since 2002. And that was mostly due to the fact of all the bills I had to pay. I had to pay child support. I had to pay my own rent, which I didn't have a lot of money for. And I had to also pay back student loans. Went to college in the 90s. And even though it wasn't a huge amount, I wasn't making enough to be able to pay for child support, to live in the place I'm living now much. And paying that, it was hard. And also I had to pay back a credit card debt. And it was hard to do that. So for me, I never saw TNA until the 2010s when I started seeing it. And then when I saw that Mick Foley did show up on TNA, which eventually morphed into Impact Wrestling, I missed so much. And I wish I had seen more with him, like with The Abyss, when he was doing some work over there, when he was doing, I don't know if he was doing Cactus Jack, but back then in the late 2000s into 2010, I didn't know. But then you hear the most interesting thing about Mick Foley and taking all those damn bumps. Seeing Ric Flair say flat out, brother, you don't need to do that shit. Stop. You're going to shorten your lifespan that way. He said, I know what I'm doing. And you could see that everything he took was not a joke. He was hurting himself. But at least he didn't feel it until he went into retirement. That's when things started becoming very difficult for him. He actually tried to do, at one point, suicide prevention and was doing phone calls for suicide. But after a certain amount of time, because of everything he went through and having nerve damage, he couldn't even do that anymore. He started becoming highly frustrated, becoming more depressed, particularly that I have to have a hip replacement eventually. Me, I need hip replacement. Someone in my age, back when I was in my mid-30s, unless you have big money or a very good union and not be so damn scared out of your mind to get it done, you couldn't do it. I kind of wish I hadn't been so freaked out of my mind and I could have gotten the hip surgery, but that it would have probably given out by the time I turned 60, because I needed hip surgery by the time I was, 37, 38, and they only last 20 years. I would already only have maybe 7 to 10 years more before my hip would have begun to really show signs I need to have a replacement to my replacement. But knowing Mick Foley needed to have hip surgery, knowing that he's been always going through a lot of pain, it's good to see, to understand how much he changed over the years, how much he's influenced things, how much he helped not only fans, but like suicide prevention. It was really interesting to see what Mick Foley has become. Now, for me personally, what can Mick Foley do now in 2021? Simple. For me personally, this is how I feel. I know everyone thinks that Darby Allin is Sting's protege. Honestly, there's only one true mentor he needs. Mick Foley. I still say Darby Allin is easily the second coming of Mick Foley. He's a smaller guy, yes. He's a skinny guy, yes. But the same passion that Mick Foley has is in Darby Allin. 100% Derby is the reincarnation, not the second reincarnation, the reincarnation of Mick Foley. He was born to be Mick Foley. That's what he is right now. A young, very, very active Mick Foley that has extra stuff tacked on top of him. He's a great filmmaker because he went to film school. You can see he's very good in the ring, taking away from all the dangerous stunts he does with his body. He clearly is a step up for Mick Foley. And I wish for this year that Mick Foley would come to AEW. He doesn't have to be on the roster. He just needs to come. And he easily goes to AEW and say, look, I want to help put this guy over. He is the next coming of me. Let me do this. And he goes to AEW. He manages him because eventually he breaks away from Sting. He manages him for a little while. And at a signature pay-per-view, it can be Top Gear. It can be Double or Nothing. It could be whatever pay-per-view you think it should be. And he gives him the moniker of the second coming of Mick Foley. He says clearly, I see this guy right here as the second coming of Mick Foley. I don't say this because I think I'm the greatest wrestler that ever existed. Everyone knows I'm not. There are many others better than me. Many others who've done great things than I have. But I made my mark. I want you to become Derby Cactus Allen or Derby Jack Allen. Whatever you think will work. I think Cactus Jack. Derby CJ Allen. Cactus Jack. He doesn't have to say it. They don't have to say it because it's been trademarked by WWE. He can be called CJ. The mark CJ of Cactus Jack can be on his shirt to indicate that he's the new Mick Foley. That's what I think would be great. Or you can be Alan Foley. You never know. But this is what I think could happen with Mick Foley. He could give back to one person, one who truly embodies himself. But this is just my point of view. And I hope you enjoyed this Gump report. Please give me a comment below about how you feel about this. And I really hope you have some fun. I hope you enjoy When Shadows Fall for my NWA review. That would have already been released. And I probably release this in the middle of the month. Oh, not month. Week. I'm still thinking about certain things right now that's happening in this month. Oof, that's a lot going to be going on. Getting files in here, it's going to be a big mess. But I have to do it. Peace.